It shouldn't be surprising that she's called her book Too Much, Too Young. Will you welcome, please, Kerry Katona. Hello, darling. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Now, and congratulations to you as well.
I've just set loads of pies.
No. Happy event.
Yes.
Not too far away. When are you due?
April 1st.
No.
Yeah,
Are you
April
serious?
Fool's Day, yeah.
And today's Friday the 13th. Where does that bring us?
Well, it says a lot about me, doesn't it, really?
Kerry, your book is, as I said in the introduction there, one of the most touching books that I've ever read.
Did you research to tell you?
No, I read it myself. Because I'd heard a lot about you. I'd heard a lot about you and how tough it was, but I didn't know how tough. You've never known your own father.
Yeah.
Your mother, at various stages, you had a series of violent boyfriends.
Yeah.
At one point, she chose someone over you.
Yeah, most of my life, really. If I keep fixing it, it's because... never mind.
Microphone.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised how you survived. What is it about you that you managed to get through all of that and still be sane and relatively...
I'm not sane. I don't know, I mean... God, I don't even know how to answer that, because I wouldn't even say I was sane. Honestly, I don't know. I've just took it every day as it comes, and I've just got on with it, and I've just took it in, and well, you know,
Yeah.
I've had my weak moments, but I've just got on with it.
Because at various stages in your childhood, I mean, you were almost like the parent figure.
Well, I am the mother, she's the daughter, my mum, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've always had to look after my mum from when she was slitting her wrist, to when she was ODing, or to if she'd go... I mean, my mum's an alcoholic. The first time I seen my mum slit her wrist I was 3. And that carried on up until I was 15. And, like, she'd go out for days on end, and I'd get a dole money, and I'd get myself a 20p dime bar or something. But, you know, she's my mum. But in the book, I've actually put my mum's upbringing in there as well, because she had it 10 times worse than me. I mean, she didn't know how to be a mum, really.
Yeah, but you somehow managed to come through all of that and as I say, became the mother figure. But
Well, I wouldn't say I was a mother figure. I mean, as a mother myself, I'm learning every day. I don't believe there's a perfect mother unless, you know...
Yeah. When you were growing up with her, and I mean, she was doing drugs, she introduced you to drugs too.
When
What
I was
age were you?
14.
And what did she introduce you to?
I walked into a pub, a toilet, and my mum was in there with a lesbian lover, because my mum used to be a lesbian. Don't ask.
Yeah.
Buy the book. Don't buy my calls, because I've got a signing tomorrow as well, and I've told him I'm going to tell him. Buy mine. And I walked in a pub, my mum's in there with a girlfriend, and I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "It's sherbet, do you want some?" And she put a load of it on my tongue, and it was seed. It was whiz. I was in foster care at the time, and I was only allowed to have supervised visits with my mum. Did I talk about this on telly? And I was only allowed to have supervised visits with my mum. And so I actually snuck out to the pub to see my mum. Because I was brought up in
And she had no sense of how ridiculously and how harmful this was to...
Well, my mum's real mum was a prostitute.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg couldn't write my life story. Honest to God, right. And her real mother gave me mum drugs as well.
So this was just following...
So it was just my mum following routine.
Yeah. At one point, after Dave, who stabbed your mother and was a really bad lot, but she was mad about him.
Well, Dave was... You see, God rest his soul, I wouldn't wish he was dead. I mean, sometimes I still wish he was still here, just so he'd take the pressure off my shoulders from my mum, because now that he's not here, I get it all. You know?
But he was a bad lot, and yet she was
but he was a
mad
good
about
bloke when he wanted to be. I mean, the reason how my mum fell in love with Dave, like Dave stabbed my mum, and then he went for me and told me he was Freddy Krueger and wanted to cut us up and everything. And my mum chose him over me, and I got put into care for that. But my mum, Dave to my mum gave her a love I couldn't give her, that a little girl couldn't give her. You know, my mum craved to be loved. And what it was, how she got with Dave was, my mum's real mum sold my mum to 5 Asian men for sex. And Dave found this out and went and beat them all up. And to me mum, that was my mum's knight in shining armour.
Yeah.
You know, and with a guy who, you know, with violence, domestic violence, and I'm sure there's a lot of women out there, a lot of it is mind games, and they control you and they take over, and you know, and you start to believe what they say, and that was what my mum, I mean, I don't blame my mum for anything.
When Dave died, and he died in an accident, your mum was so distraught she wanted to kill herself.
Again.
Yeah. And this time you'd had enough.
I got fed up. I was doing my GCSEs, and she was like, you know, I've got nothing here for me, I want to die, I want to kill myself, and I just want to be with Dave. And I just thought, you're a selfish cow, I'm sorry. And I said, you know, well, what about me? You know, I haven't got my dad, I've got no brothers and sisters, what about me, Mum? Am I not worth staying around for? So I said, if that's what you want to do, I said, it's a coward's way out. I gave her the tablets, I said, take them, and I made her take every single one. And I said, right, I'll phone you an ambulance, I'll pick you up in the morning.
Wow. That's how, but it tells us how...
And that was the last time she'd done it.
It shows, though, that the level you had both come to.
Yeah.
She wanted to go, and you said, OK.
It took a bloody elephant gun get my mum down. I mean, she's done it many times, and for me mum, it's a cry for help. She doesn't know how else to cope with life. It's, you know, my mum's a manic depressive. You know, she's got, you know, she drinks every day. That's just how my mum knew how to cope, and it doesn't make her an evil person. She wasn't like, I'm gonna, you know, mess my daughter's life up or anything. You know, she's a great grandmother. You want to see her with Molly and Lily? She's brilliant, you know. Now, Molly loves the nanny.
Moving on to your own life and how you got your big break. How did it happen?
What, with Atomic Kitten?
Yeah.
Right, well, that's the thing. I was in foster care. You see, and if I hadn't got put with foster parents, I wouldn't have got an Atomic Kitten, because I wouldn't have been with them people when I met the Atomic Kitten people.
OK.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, things happen for a reason. I was in Mr. Smith's, a nightclub, having a drink, and just on a night out dancing, and some bloke approached me, and that was it. I mean, I never went looking for it. It just happened, and so there was auditioning for a girl band, so I went along, I took my pastry photographs, threw him down, sparked up a cigarette, told a dirty joke. They said, you're in the band.
And that's how long did it take from that moment when you were signed up to be an Atomic Kitten to the time when you started to make some money and it began to happen?
Well, I was in the band on my own for 2 months. Then we had Tash and Heidi. No, then we had Liz and Heidi. Heidi's in the Sugar Babes. And then Heidi left and we got Tash. And after Tash, 4 weeks later, we got a record deal.
Right. And how did you keep bread on the table in the meantime?
I was a lap dancer.
A lap dancer?
I took my clothes off for money.
Yeah.
I had a good body then.
Yeah, it was a picture of you which shows precisely how you looked in those days. And
I thought you were going to say I did. I was going to say, what's wrong with it now?
Don't go there. Don't go. But you enjoyed that time.
I enjoyed it. Well, I was in Atomic Kitten, you know, and I was going in the studios to record. I only did it for about 3 weeks. You know, it was just, it was money. I didn't mind it. No, I mean, we're all born naked. You know, there's a limit and there's a limit. You know, I'm not the saddle that's going in and having somebody else, having to pay somebody to dance for me. You know, I'm the one getting the money, and that was it. I was dancing far and fine, fair enough, and going home. Now, and getting to pay me lecky. And me gas, and me water, and me tax. I did pay that. No, I did.
But moving on to when you met Brian.
Yes.
Westlife had become quite big at this point. Did you know that Brian was Westlife? Or?
Well, I knew of Westlife, but I was into Rod Stewart and Dr. Hook and Roy Orbison and Elvis Presley. I was into my old music, so if it wasn't for Atomic Kitten, I wouldn't have a clue. But Liz was a big fan of Westlife, and she fancied the boys because of Roland Keating. Let me get this right. And she seen Brian and said, oh my God, it's Brian. So she wouldn't go over and say hello.
Ronan and Louis were joint managers of Westlife at the beginning.
That's the one, yeah.
That's it. And then, how was it? Love at first sight? Was it?
Oh no, God no, it wasn't. He looked at me and just thought I was this loudmouth, bold as brass. I don't know. No, I think he asked me out about 5 times that night. I said no. But, you know, and then it was just like, I really like this guy. He's funny, he made me laugh. And then, you know, then we finally got together.
Yeah, and ultimately you got married.
Yeah.
And you've written...
Did we?
Yeah. I remember. If you don't, I do. But you've written about the kind of warning shot across the bows, really, when he came back and said, they're going to be writing terrible stuff about me. Don't believe it. This is the stag night thing.
Oh, the lap dancer.
Yeah. Did you... did you pay any attention to that warning from him that at that stage?
Well, like, now I'm sat here saying it now, like at the time I stood by Brian and I completely, But then when he finally said it was true, it was like, you don't know what to believe, because he told me that it wasn't true, and then he finally admitted it. And then you're just like, you don't know what to believe. But in a way, I kind of thought, no, you just don't say. You know, but love is blind, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
And
and when you're in that
you
situation,
didn't see that as kind of the ending before it began.
I think you ignore it, don't you? I mean, we had a baby, and all I wanted was a family, and that was my family. And I loved Brian.
How do you feel about him now?
I love him as the father of my kids, but we don't really talk, But he's Molly and Lily's daddy, like I said before, and they love him, and I'm sure he loves them, which I know he does.
How devastated were you? Because I met you around the time when this whole thing happened.
Is that when you gave me all that Valium before I came on?
We don't do drugs in this show. But you were putting a very brave face on it at the time.
Yeah, I was, because that's all everybody has seen, and I was devastated. Brian was kind of like the final straw on me back for rejection again. And like you said before, you've always coped with it. How have you managed to carry on going and going? But when Brian left, it's like, I haven't got the energy, guys, to do this anymore. I can't be strong. So I had my weak moments, and I was like, I want to mess up now because I can't be strong. And people say, what makes you strong? What makes you weak makes you strong. I should be like the Incredible Hulk by now,
But you thought you had the perfect thing. You had your babies, you had a lovely house, lovely in-laws. I mean, your family.
Mairead and Brendan, the family, they are brilliant. They are brilliant people, and they're brilliant with the kids. And and I know they miss the kids loads, but they get to go over in the holidays when they see them.
Yeah, and so your life started to fall apart. You went to kind of get yourself sorted out, didn't you?
Yeah.
And what did you discover about yourself in that process?
What, in rehab?
Yeah.
Well, I was really ashamed of the fact that I let myself get that low, and I was embarrassed. And I remember sitting in detox and thinking, I've just turned into my mum. I've just become everything that I never wanted to become, and thinking, I can't believe I'm going to be away from my kids for 6 weeks because I couldn't be strong, not just for me, but for my girls as well. Yeah. And then I was so embarrassed and ashamed of asking for help. But then at the same time, I realised that was the best thing I ever done, was say, look, I need help. I can't do this on my own.
And what did they tell you about yourself? I mean, you mentioned your mum was bipolar.
No, I'm bipolar.
You're
my mum's got, yeah. Apparently, it runs in the genes. If your mum's a manic depressive or someone is, you automatically get it. But I didn't find out I had bipolar until last year, after rehab. And
did that explain a lot about your life to you?
Not about my life, but as about me, because I'm on medication for life with depression. But it was a relief, because I thought I was going insane. Yeah, we all know I am insane. But
well, that's where you started.
But I really thought, I'm losing the plot, because there's no in between. I'm either, and I was glad, really. But I'm off my medication now because I'm pregnant. So Mark's got to put up with the hormones, the bipolar, the depression, and 2 other girls in the house. So he's having a ball at the minute. He can't wait for the baby to come out to get me back on medication.
How did you meet him? How did you meet Mark?
In a taxi. He was a friend of my mum's, and my mum introduced us. But I'd heard of him before. Not that he was, I knew of him. Not that he was anything like anything. I mean, he is. He's backstage. I love you, babe. and that's how I met him. And he used to come around my mum's because he was a taxi driver. And my mum used to get